Personality is an important part of everyone's life. It's how we define ourselves and how others define us. It's what we look for when we search for a spouse or a partner, and it's the first thing that we notice when we meet a new friend. Ultimately, personalities are what shape a person and define who they are. Everybody has unique personalities that make them stand apart from others. However, there are several categories used to distinguish people's general personality types, which can be determined by different personality tests. While there is not one specific personality test used to determine a person's specific traits, each of them are similar in the results they produce. Both of the tests that I will describe later focus on people's tendencies and inclinations in different situations and ideas. These tests generally include an analysis of certain characteristics that person holds. Some examples of these characteristics studied in tests include extroversion, conscientiousness, openness, agreeableness, neuroticism, intellect, and emotional stability, among others. The first test that I will discuss, and perhaps the most popular, is the Briggs-Meyer personality test. The process of this test involves 4 categories, and in each category, 2 functions are described in how people deal with this. The test taker is supposed to pick the function that most appropriately suits him for each of the 4 categories, and the combination of these functions is said to be the personality type of this person. In this specific test, there are 16 different results that can be attained to make up a personality type, which includes a combination of letters E, I, N, S, T, F, J, and P. I've received this source from my personality types article. To better understand this, one must know what each of these letters represents. The purpose of this test is to determine whether a person is more extroverted or introverted, E or I, more sensing or intuitive, S or N, more thinking or feeling, T or F, and more judging or perceiving, J or P. Once these distinctions are determined, the combination of these letters will make up a specific personality type that should generally describe the test taker pretty well. For example, my personality type is ENFP, which means that I am extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and perceiving. This means that I get my energy from being around people and doing activities rather than alone. That I rely on my inner voice and thoughts instead of by observation. That I rely mostly on my feelings and usually follow my heart instead of my head. And that I tend to live one moment at a time instead of having plans and being organized. The description of my personality type goes on to describe me exactly, saying how I tend to deal with certain situations, my general likes and dislikes, and how I act around others. This is the type of results that one can expect from this specific personality test. This source of information is from the article Information About Personality Types. The other quite popular personality test that I will discuss works a little differently from this one. It deals with 5 factors: extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, and intellect. It determines what a person is like based on these 5 factors or their inverse traits. After undergoing a questionnaire varying in length for different versions of this test, the results will show a chart depicting where someone's personality falls in between the spectrum of these traits. The test measures how much a person acts in accordance to these factors. For example, with all of these factors, the test can determine how open someone is to experiencing new things, how dedicated a person is to following through with things, how open someone is, and how comfortable they are around others, and how easily a person gets along with others. This source that I've received is from the Rakowski source. The test, similar to the other one, shows whether a person is more extroverted or introverted, more agreeable or antagonistic, more conscientious or disorganized, more neurotic or emotionally stable, and more open-minded or more closed-minded. The results of this test also show a list of adjectives that could suit a person for each factor that describes them best. Some of the examples that I received when I took this test were talkative, bold, active, emotional, creative, complex, trustful, disorganized, and imaginative. After looking further into these results, I realized that the results for both of these different types of personality tests were similar and interrelated. The source that I received this from is the Beaumont source. Finally, I've taken several other personality tests, including other questionnaires, a color test, and a picture test, which produce similar results. Learning the different types of personalities that can exist help people better to understand themselves and to connect with others. Though each person is unique, there are only so many varieties of personalities that can be seen in a person. By using psychology and distinct categories, People can be grouped into a specific personality type, which can say a lot about that person. This is a very useful way to judge a person's character because, after all, personalities are very important in everyday relationships.